Hey, we are in downtown Missoula, Montana, near the University District. I'm here with my best friend, Andy Mickelson, owner of Mickelson Plumbing and Heating. We're out front of a building that for the next 5 days, we're going to be tearing out an old heating system, a 30-year-old boiler, 1.6 million BTUs. We're putting in 3 modern Viessmann boilers for this condo unit. It's going to be a blast.
It is going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a lot of work. I hope you stay tuned for the entire series. This is going to be a lot of fun. Andy, let's go meet the guys and let's get that old boiler out of here.
It's got to go.
So Andy, the new boilers are going to be arriving soon, but the old one's got to come out first. How long do you think that'll take?
I think we're going to have it out here in a couple hours. I mean, it's a big boiler. It's a big cast iron sectional. So we're going to peel the jacket off, get the venting out, get all the scrap out here in this parking garage, and then we'll back our trailer down in here. That's going to be a problem. But anyway, I got a flatbed trailer we're going to back down in here. We'll load all of our scrap onto it right here. Hopefully it'll be out of the way, and then we'll have a couple of new boilers show up here pretty quick. But we got some work to do.
Yeah, we got to stop filming right now. We got to get to work.
Let's do it.
All right, Andy, so started by climbing on top of the boiler, was all still put together, taking the venting out, disconnecting all the gas, piping, everything to this. We've been working for about an hour and a half.
Yep.
And now is time to start taking what are called the sections of the boiler out. And there are 9 of these. These are cast iron. If I had to guess, they're probably about 3.5, 4 feet by, square, I'd suppose.
5.5 inch thick sections.
So you actually looked this up in the catalog because we have the model number of these sections. And how much did this all weigh?
So the shipping weight on this boiler, which would be jacket, flues, all of that stuff, which, we're probably 400 or 500 pounds in jacket, I would guess.
Okay.
We've got about 4,300 pounds of boiler left sitting here. And it's going to come apart in 9 pieces. The base on these are really stout. So there's going to be a couple 100 pounds there, maybe 1,000 pounds in the bottom of it. And we at this point, we got to take this thing into pieces that are bite size, I guess.
So when I woke up this morning, I wasn't thinking we're going to be moving, Rob and I are going to be moving these sections 500 pounds a piece at least.
Yeah.
Miles, there's 4 of us. This is going to take about everything we got to get these out of here safely and so nobody gets hurt. Also just physically to get them out.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to put some machine work to use. If we can find a good point overhead here that we can get a chain fall, we'll rig up. We'll be able to lift these off and then maneuver them, let the machines do the heavy work. If we can't, I don't really see a lot up here that I'm super excited about. So we'll probably bring in that engine hoist, and then we've got a hydraulic engine hoist, and we'll just pick them up, maneuver them, set them on a cart, and then we can get them up and out the ramp.
Excellent. All right, well, it's been awesome so far. Well, we got a ton of work left. We're doing good though, on time, honestly. 9:30 in the morning, guys. So we've only been doing the disassembly for the demo for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
This is a good mile point to take maybe a short break and then get back to work.
Exactly. Short. Right. Let's keep it short.
All right. All right, well, Andy, we just did a ton of work. All 4 of us, hands on deck. Ultimately, we used the cherry picker, the engine hoist, to get them off the stand and onto the ground. broke a furniture dolly.
Broke furniture, it smashed it,
like that.
flattened it.
It just,
so that was awesome.
You know, you use tools all the time. You don't really realize their full capacity until a day like today, where we just went right past that capacity and just couldn't handle it.
Well, and I in hindsight, that's a 1,000-pound rated furniture cart. However, it's not 1,000-pound rated for this 4 square inches that we were using.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But we had this ramp that we weren't quite sure, and we've got kind of a turnaround 90-degree turn on it, which is a little harder than normal with the step up. So we were able to use hand trucks to get it out here. A little more manual than we wanted to.
Yeah.
You know. And then there was some stairs, and we had brought some materials to make ramps. We had some ramps with us, stuff like that. It just wasn't quite right with the dimensions that we had to work with. So we went down the steps, kind of deadlifting those one at a time. And I got to say, it went pretty good.
Yeah.
Rob did get banged up a little bit on one of his hands, but he says he's okay.
Yep. He pinched his finger, so.
Yeah, no work comp claims yet.
Yeah.
But we got it all cleaned up. But this is a milestone. This is a big part of a job like this. We just sprayed down concrete cleaner. We were scrubbing it with brushes, you and I, while the guys are still cleaning up those sections and bringing them outside. And we've got a pile of garbage now.
Yeah.
So to get this room clean, everything we took out of it, that's a good spot. Like, we're almost ready to stop for lunch.
Yep.
We've been going for about three and a half, maybe 3 hours.
3.5, yeah.
And so we're doing pretty well, I think. And you're the boss. You tell us.
Yeah, no, we're right on track. In my mind, as a project manager, bidding a job like this, I got to break it down into pieces. You know, what task are we going to do? How long is it going to take? How many guys does it take? How much equipment do we need to do each section? You know, and we're right on track for that. So,
well, and it's not that we just showed up today and started working. You knew exactly where we're going to cut these pipes off, reuse the old stuff. Not everything goes when you do a job like this.
Right.
Because there's still good materials, that's still perfectly acceptable to what we're going to be putting in, and we'll attach to those. So we're going to have a mixture of piping. After we get the materials in here, with the boilers in here, we're going to have a mixture of piping. We're going to just kind of start all new from those old cutoff points.
Yeah, we're going to have 2 primary connection points. One of them's going to be right above us at these closely spaced T's. The other one is our supply loop that's going to be going out to the system. So we're going to connect up to those, and then it'll just be starting to put the new pieces together.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever you reassemble and install new from this point on, we're taking advantage of the most up-to-date materials, the most reliable connections we know, and we've had good luck with, like the MegaPress especially from Viega.
Yeah.
We've got the RIDGID press tools here. They're waiting. Hopefully we get to use at least one of them today.
Yeah.
But boilers are going to be here any minute. I think we're about ready to take a lunch break, so hopefully they show up soon, so maybe we can relax a little bit afterwards.
Kick back. That's right.
All right, guys, we have 3 boilers in place, and Andy, these are 399,000 BTU boilers each.
Yep.
So 1.2 million. Okay. These are from Germany, from Viessmann. They are, what model are they?
These are the CI2 in a 399, so 399,000 BTUs. Modulating burner. They're pretty much the pinnacle of Viessmann's line of light commercial boilers. These particular models are going to give us like an 8-to-1 turn down. So when the 3 of them are going to be cascaded together, meaning that they're going to be wired together, functioning as one, we're going to end up with a 24-to-1 turn down. So we can go anywhere from 50,000 BTUs all the way to 1.2 million BTUs of input.
And this is supplying the space heating for is there 60 condo units here?
Yeah, 45 condos
Okay.
that are heated with hot water baseboard.
Okay.
So each condo's got 2 zones of baseboard. We've got some redundancy in here. The old boiler that we took out, that was a 1.6 million BTU single stage boiler. So it was either on or off.
Right.
And so if you needed a little bit of heat, if, you know, Custer, the tenant in number 40 needed heat and they were the only ones, well, you were firing up 1.6 million BTUs worth of heat to make that demand. So
yeah, so this is not only do you have multiple zones throughout the building that can call for heat at one time, but you have the ability to dial down. That's what Andy was talking about, the turn down ratio, the ability to take this very massive amount of energy and go down from 3 to 2 to 1, and that one boiler being able to supply its minimum amount of 50,000 BTUs instead of 1.2 million, which is very, very significant. So along the way, you're able to match the load of the building by the output of the boiler because of how it can modulate, kind of like a cruise control on a car.
Yeah, it's kind of like adaptive cruise control in that sense. So if we have 3 units that are calling for heat, we can meet the building's demand for that load. The other cool thing about with these and the modulating technology of most modern boilers is we're looking at outdoor temperature too. So as we have a day like today, this morning it was like 42 degrees. We could have, let's say, 140 degree water this morning, and as we got closer to 70 degrees where we're at now, we might have 105 degree water. And that would satisfy the building's load, and ultimately reducing water temperature reduces fuel use.
I've tried to convey to my audience, whether it's through Mechanical Hub or on the Build Show Network or whoever it is we're talking to on social media, just how fascinating hydronics can be because of how that ultimately works. Is we can modulate not only the temperatures needed to meet the load, or that calculation, that temperature, that number has been decided through the computer electronics in the unit, a sensor outside. It's constantly adjusting so that we're never using any more energy than is needed.
Right.
This is gas burning equipment. They're trying to replace stuff like this with heat pumps, and we're getting closer. The technology is getting closer, but this really is the most efficient way to address the heating needs of this building without taking out and redoing completely the entire building. You'd have to gut the entire building and put a new heating system in, and that's just not feasible.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, you start looking at modifying a 45 unit building and taking out standard fin tube baseboard and installing like panel radiators or some sort of a low temperature emitter. It's a massive undertaking. Can be done, but it's expensive. The beauty of, like this, these guys are rated at 97% efficiency as a single boiler. As we start adding those, that number, in my mind, has to be approaching, as a system, we have to be getting closer to 100 than 97.
Because of that turn down ratio, the ability to modulate. So the next time we stop and talk, so we're near the end of the day. Miles and Rob, they're out, they've backed the trailer down the ramp. They're getting all of the scrap metal, pipe, everything we pulled out of here. The next time we stop and talk like this, I hope it's because we've got a whole bunch of new piping to talk about. We'll see. Who knows? We're doing this, we're on day 1.
Yeah.
We've got 5 days to complete this project. And I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish today, but you're the boss, so you tell us, how are we doing?
It's good to be at this point of the day, have the equipment sitting here. I mean, these boilers came down the ramp so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we had a boiler room with a ramp and not stairs is pretty awesome. Let's just call it what it is. But
that's worth talking about for just a second. We looked up the specs, we looked up the shipping tickets on these things. Without the pallet, just as we see it with the door on it, the cover, these things weigh over 700 pounds. Was it 750?
798 is
798
is weight.
Yeah.
That's without the 29 gallons of water each.
Yeah.
So that's
these things are on 3 wheels on the bottom in a big steel frame, and you can just move these things around. It's just amazing, the engineering, and really kudos to Viessmann on that design alone, because not only did we take them off the pallet, which we saw in the videos, where part of the pallet, the crating, was really the ramp to roll it onto the ground.
Yeah,
like,
just very cool.
That is really cool. Well, I'm excited. I think we've probably been talking long enough. Rob and Miles,
they might have
be
it all
done loaded up the scrap. Maybe it's time to take off.
It might be. Let's get out of here.
Day one in the books. Almost.
Right.
Almost. Thanks for watching, guys. So day two, we've already got it started. We've been working a couple hours already now. Rob is over here getting ready to redo some piping that's existing. A lot of the stuff is just gonna stay where it is. We're gonna reattach. Some things need to be moved just to accommodate the new equipment. Maybe we're putting in a new piece where something old was, but a lot of the stuff stays the same. We've prepped the tops of the boilers here, which is just one small step to get things ready to connect to the old piping system. Andy and Miles are over here doing electrical work, which is, you know, we're just trying to get everything in line for the electrician when they show up. And that's a lot of work because we're sorting out a 3-phase system. We're getting rid of 3-phase, go to single phase. And because these boilers have pretty much everything electronic built into them, very few external controls. Feeling really good about day two. We got the boilers leveled up. Like I said, the tops are already piped up. We're gonna work on the back side where we've got gas, return piping for the water. We've got venting, which is gonna be a big project toward the end of the day. So it's gonna be like I said earlier, it's gonna be a really exciting day to see how much we can get done, kind of first stage on the new equipment. All right, so Andy, I've got the return waters piped up at least to the shutoff valves here, which is gonna give us a good base plate to take some measurements. We've got the venting 90s connected to the backside of the boiler.
Yep.
Just all kind of reference point at this point.
In this particular click case, this is design build. We're reusing some connection points. We're gonna be fabbing up a couple of pieces, and we're gonna actually start making a couple of connection points. This morning you picked up and got the boiler pumps on. We got all the devices and accessories on the header of the boiler. So that's all done. And that's a lot of what we're doing today, is just basically getting the A's and the B's sorted out so we can connect A to B.
The next step though is gonna be to get up on the roof. We've got possible rain tomorrow, and we've got to drop vent piping, which is the polypropylene engineered plastic pipe for the venting. And that's going to go through the old metal chimney that the existing boiler, the old boiler, was connected to. We're going to be dropping 3 4-inch pipes down that large chimney from the roof. Once we get that into the space here though, then we've got a whole bunch more piping to make connections to. So really, it is really kind of just a step-by-step process. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves, but every one of these little pieces is so important for the next stage.
There's enough of us here on this job that we'll be able to continue with those piping of each individual system. You know, we get a job like this, I kind of like breaking it down. You know, we've got a boiler supply header up top here. We've got a boiler return header down low. We've got a system supply header that's going to come into our pumps that are going to be on the wall here. And if you start breaking it into those 4 kind of primary classes, you can put one guy to work on that, and all of a sudden it's, hey, that one's done. I don't need to worry about that. You know, somebody else is working on this piece. Somebody could jump in on electrical. Somebody could jump on condensate. There's gas piping to be done yet, and we'll get through it. It's just you just got to have a direction for it. So
let's go up to the roof.
Let's go to the roof.
All right, dude. This is it.
Let's do it. Vents on the roof here.
So this is the chimney going all the way down in the mechanical room. This is where the boiler was venting.
Correct. Yeah, we got a 20-inch clay tile liner here, which is part of the problem that we've got with this system to start with. And one of the challenges we had to overcome is that the clay liner is not a listed flue anymore.
No, because you had a natural gas boiler, so you can't dump the flue gases into that clay liner.
Right. So what we're going to end up doing is we're bringing this 4-inch Centrotherm up through. This is going to be our final piece. It's going to penetrate through the top of this cap. We have 3 individual vents going to come up here. We could have done it with 8-inch. We could have done a common vent kit, an 8-inch. The biggest challenge I had with 8-inch and what was throwing me off on this design was how am I going to support 50 or 60 feet of 8-inch vertically that I mean, it's a straight down 4 stories into the basement.
Sure.
There's no way to hold an 8-inch from the side without getting into this chimney.
So you called a sheet metal shop, and you've got these plates made up, number of them, and these holes are to fit the outside diameter of the 4-inch pipe.
Right. This piece doesn't show it, but there's a bell end on each one of the pipes. The idea behind this plate is that the tube itself will slip through here. This will interface with the bell end, and we'll put a piece of 3/8 inch all threads through the center hole. And we'll link this 60-foot riser together, dropping it in 10-foot section at a time.
Okay. And as we lower it down, we'll be using the threaded rod to support each plate.
Correct.
With like a nut and coupling or something like that. And then these plates will support the pipe. You'll have multiple plates and rod as we go down because, like you said, the pipe is 10-foot sections each.
Correct. Yeah.
And those are push gasket together, so they're not going to go anywhere. And they have a retainer ring on them to hold them together. But this will go all the way down into the bottom of this chimney, which is actually then transitions to a horizontal section into the room where the boilers are sitting now.
Correct.
So you'll have a termination on the top, but we're going to have the transition below to horizontal over to the boilers. And we're actually going to be using these brackets there as well for just support in the room, correct?
Yeah, so I drew this bracket up on AutoCAD, and basically this is the center hole we're going to use for the all thread. This upper hole, we're going to use a caddy attachment to go to 3/8 rod, and this will basically hang in the horizontal position and create a rack for us. Otherwise, we would have had to do it again, or fashion up some other way of holding 3 pipes. So I thought, well, what the heck, let's just cut a couple more, and these were all laser cut out on a CNC cutting table, so
I think it's great
pretty
thinking.
Straightforward.
You're a pretty smart guy for thinking of that. It's impressive. We got to get materials up here. The guys are back with the last bit of parts and pieces we were missing originally. So a little fine tuning on ordering materials and stuff like that. It's here on site. We got a whole bunch of pipe to hoist up over the side of the building. It's getting sunny out.
It's nice.
It is nice, but it was really cloudy just a little bit ago. I was really looking forward to being out on the roof when it was cloudy.
Yeah, we kind of missed that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well, it's not raining.
There's a cloud over there now.
All right, so as you saw, it was quite the feat to get this down. It was a great plane to start with, but we had to be a little flexible along the way. We made some changes, and ultimately, I think the original plan stuck. Just a couple of things on how we supported and put the rod together ultimately, because we had the threaded rod, the 3/8 threaded rod.
Right, basically it's going right down through this center bolt. Is 50 feet long at this point. I mean, 4 stories down there, I guess. And it's carrying every hub of these 4-inch joints every 10 feet. So it's basically point loaded to this point, and we're now loaded to the top of the clay liner.
Yeah, and so that the tensile strength, everything, we're not even close to the capacity. But right now this plate is sitting on top of this strut. This will all get covered over with a good seal around the pipe. Heavy metal plate is going to go past the clay tile right here all the way around.
We'll probably come in and secure these pieces of strut down to the top of the clay. It may be just a construction adhesive, to be honest, just to keep them from slipping out.
Okay.
The metal roof cap will extend down beyond it, and it won't be able to shift any direction, and that'll retain that strut in place. And really, there it is for 50 years.
And this pipe has got a UV rating to it directly from the factory, so we don't have to treat that in any other way. And actually, if you look at the top of it, it's just 3 4-inch pipes looking straight up.
Yep.
So people are going to ask, well, isn't water going to go down that? What are you going to say to that?
Please do, but hopefully it does. Here's my look on the water going down it, or rain entering it, or snow. It's not going to hurt anything. These boilers are condensing boilers. These particular ones are going to produce about 4 gallons an hour. So if you were standing here with a 5-gallon bucket of water pouring it in there, we would naturally do that in the basement.
And it's going to go directly into the condensate drain, which is at the collection point at the base of these, where they connect to the boiler. So it would never, ever, it wouldn't go into the boiler. It's not going to bother anything. So it's the only thing you really have to worry about, and there's really no way to control this, is if, a bird were to sit there. You get, they make things like screens and things like that. I know where I live, we can't put the screens on there because they'll frost up, and then we'll have an error code of the boiler will shut down on a safety because it'll know that the flue is blocked. So, I mean, we just hope that something like that doesn't happen, and that's really about all we can do.
Yep. Yeah, the whole bottom of this, we'll be able to take those fittings apart if by chance anything ever did get in it. Like you had mentioned, if a bird falls in there, a squirrel, I mean, we're a long ways up for a squirrel, but if something were to get down in there and obstruct that flue, the boiler's going to shut down. It's not going to create a dangerous situation. It's just going to shut down and give us a fault code and say, hey, I don't have any airflow. Yeah,
and the reason why, the manufacturer of the boiler, Viessmann, doesn't want us putting like a snorkel kit on these or anything, because that's going to create a problem with the condensation freezing on the outlet of the flue pipe. That is actually going to be worse than having the pipes just bare looking straight up. It's a really cool system. Andy thought it all up. I know a lot of guys, a lot of people, a lot of different companies have done things like this, and it's out. Usually we've got to think of how to do this ahead of time. There's no real engineered way of we can't go buy a kit for this in this configuration.
No.
So basically you kind of make it up as you go, and it's just, it comes with experience. You've done so many jobs over the years. You had an idea, you stuck with it, and you had some great planning ahead of time. So it wasn't the easiest thing I've done.
No, it wasn't. I mean, I look at it, we were just talking about this and go, well, is 3 4-inch pipes in 10-foot sections easier to stand up on a roof, or is an 8-inch pipe easier to stand up?
Yeah, the alternative would be one single 8-inch where all down below, all 4 of them or 3 of them tie into it. So yeah, it's interesting. Nice day for it. I mean, it didn't rain. It got a little sunny and a little warm for a minute, but I'm not complaining.
Not at all.
All right, let's go downstairs. Let's keep piping on that boiler.
Got more pipe to do.
All right. All right, Andy. Day 3.
Day 3, we're in here. It doesn't look like it changed much from yesterday, but we got a lot done yesterday.
Yeah, we did, and we have to really get some major pieces to the puzzle taken care of right away this morning. So these 2 T's up in the air connected to that air separator need to be removed. This bit of piping is going to come down, and then what goes in its place?
So we've got a flange, this 4-inch flange up here. We're basically just going to unbolt that, take this whole section down. We're going to reuse part of it. Those Vic T's, there's nothing wrong with them, so there's no reason to throw them out and put 2 new ones in there.
Okay.
We're basically going to put that 4-inch 80 DRX magnetic separator is going to go right off that hydraulic separator, and we'll put a new Victolic flange on that because that gasket's probably going to leak if we try and reuse it. So we'll put that on there, and then that'll give us kind of a starting point that we can aim back to the boiler headers that we can start building.
Right, which is where I'm standing. So everything I worked on yesterday was prepping the supplies and the return connection points for the boiler. And we've got 3 boilers here. These are 2-inch connections, top and bottom, supply and return. But they're going to connect into a 3-inch header.
Yeah, we're going to go into this Viega MegaPress header, and that's just going to speed up that install process, tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, this could be Vic, it could be Victolic, or it could be threaded. But with the press fitting system, which we know and love, it's going to be, I mean, a fraction.
Yeah.
I hate to say it's half the time, but it's probably less, to be
Probably
honest.
When we really get into it, yep.
Yeah. Miles is over here working on the combustion air, which is a really cool system tied into the boiler's variable speed. That's really neat.
Yep.
We'll look at that at some point too, once that's finished. Rob is getting piping ready to go. I mean, this is kind of the day that makes it or breaks it on the timing of everything.
Yeah.
So if we can get this boiler piping completed today, I honestly think we're sitting really, really good.
I think we're looking.
Or at least we've got to have a really good, solid plan to start tomorrow morning. So what do we got? We're at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, day 3, we are just completing some gas piping, and actually Rob's behind the boilers here. We just spent the last couple hours getting everything put together, and it's probably the perfect time to talk about Viega's MegaPress system. And what's cool about this, and different from what we're going to be using on the boiler piping, is this is Viega's MegaPress G system, or gas, right? So this is a press fitting that goes on carbon steel pipe. This happens to be 3/4 inch, and he's working on some 1.5 inch. So let's walk back there and see what Rob's up to. Rob, how's it going, dude?
It's going good.
Yeah, so you've got the RIDGID 351. So this is an inline press tool, full size. It can actually press up to 4-inch iron pipe with the right jaws and attachments and everything. So it's a very powerful tool, but compact. It's very cool. What do you got going on here down on behind the boiler?
Yeah, so we're going to press this 1.5 inch MegaPress Gas 90. This jaw alone won't do it. You have to have this clamp as well. So we prepped the pipes, marked our insertion depth, and put the clamp on there and give it a squeeze.
Well, before you do that, why did you decide to put, you've got 2 press fittings here on this gas system.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier to put together, faster?
Yeah, it's faster. I only have to thread the one side. I don't have to think about my measurements as hard because I can just cut it a little long and cut shorter if I need to. So it just helps. I would have loved to have a couple more, but just size restraints kept us from
there's a
just
lot
having
of,
doing
we've
these
got,
two.
yeah, they take up a little more space, so you got to consider that. But you just have to prep the end of the pipe by cleaning it, make sure it's deburred and reamed out, and not any
no sharp edges.
Yeah, nice square cut.
Yeah, way faster than having to actually thread and all that. But
And no wrench to put this together.
yeah,
You can take a look at this. It's going to be amazing how fast this goes. It's just incredible to me. Go ahead, man. Don't let me get in the way.
that one's done. And these are cool too because if you're in a tight spot over your head, you can, everyone knows.
Yeah, when you get a lot tighter spaces. I mean, the tool isn't super small.
No.
So that's thousands of pounds of hydraulic force just pushing a ram to close that ring. It's so cool. And Rob's actually
Technically, you're supposed to take off your stickers.
takes off those little sticker there that tells us that it's been pressed.
Because you really can't tell. I mean, you can if you're looking closely, but
Yeah, from across the room, if the stickers are off the pipe, then we know that it's been pressed. Very cool system from Viega. This is a special seal inside of there, so it's not the same as what we're going to use on water or steam piping. This yellow seal indicates just visually that it's for a gas usage. And they even have the dots on the outside of the fitting to indicate that it's the right fitting for the system it's being used for. Very cool, Rob. All right, so Andy, these pumps, this header is doing what?
So basically, this header that you guys just built is the supply header off the boiler.
Yep.
These 2 pumps, this 3-inch outlet here is going to go up and tie into our 4-inch system header. And so these 2 pumps are going to go, one to the north wing of the building, and this one is going to go to the west wing of the building.
Okay.
And so we've got hot water baseboard in 47 condo units that are split about half and half. So there's 20 units over here-ish, 25 on one side, I think, is what it's split up. So these are the Taco VR20 circulators. We went this route. We had some 1900 series Tacos that were in here.
Yeah.
They were about 10, 12 years old. Kind of at that point where we're going to probably expect to buy a motor or rebuild a seal, something like that.
Yeah.
We bumped up to this series. We're going to be able to put these in proportional pressure mode. And what that means is they're going to look at how many zone valves are open, and they're going to speed up and slow down.
As needed.
As needed. The beauty of this, we took off a 3-phase, 3/4 horsepower, constant on or on motor.
Yep.
And the way this system ran before, they'd come down in the winter and hit on
And
a
it
switch.
just circulated water all
the time.
continuously.
All the time.
And as zone valves open and close, it just created more back pressure,
Yeah.
head pressure against the pump.
Yep. The cool thing here, and I would have to look at the specs, I think those old pumps were like 12 amps per pump. These guys, max amp draw is 5. So we're going to run somewhere probably maybe 400 watts, 300 watts in the middle of the winter.
Yeah.
Other than that, as soon as they get a load, they're going to slow down, and we're going to see a tremendous electrical savings going with these pumps. They're a little expensive, but the fact is we're probably going to save that electrical on the electric bill in the first year.
Okay. And these don't need to be hooked up to any drive or anything like that because
Nope.
it's all built
All
into
built
into the circulator.
Yep. We're going to end up just wiring these back to the boilers, and when the boilers decide it's time based on outdoor temperature to heat, we're going to go ahead and fire up the pumps, and then they're going to circulate water.
We're moving on. We did get the supply headers done
Yep.
on the boilers, which is huge for day 3.
We got gas done.
We got
That's a
gas
big
that's
thing.
complete today. We've done a leak test on it.
Yep.
We are kind of going to be connecting the dots tomorrow.
Yep.
We're getting near the end of the day. We're not quite yet. We
Yep.
got about an hour left to get some work done today.
Yep.
What are we going to do next?
What we're going to do is we're going to put 2 MegaPress 90s on these risers, and they're going to go run right back overhead here and tie into those 2.5 inch lines there. This is the sweet thing about MegaPress. We just took a Sawzall and cut those off nice and square. We're going to clean the ends up. We're going to slide a coupling on there and just press right onto the old pipe.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've said it so many times already.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating technology. It seems so simple. Once you use it and you understand the process, there is some know-how to do it properly. And none of these fittings are inexpensive by any means.
Nope.
But what they do is they save us a ton of time. The end result is a very, very reliable connection.
Yeah.
That's going to last as long as any other system that we could expect. And we didn't have to pull any hot work permits.
Nope.
We didn't have to have any fire watch.
Right.
And it takes minimal people to put together. We don't have 4 or 5 foot pipe wrenches in here trying to turn 3-inch pipe.
Right.
You know,
Well-
and my body thanks you, and thanks Viega for that.
Yeah. And I had my little portable pipe machine down here. We can thread 2-inch easily. As soon as you step into that realm of threading 2.5 and threading 3-inch, we got some 4-inch work that we're going to do up here. You don't do that with a portable machine.
No, absolutely not. And you spend the better part of a day fabricating, and you're not even putting things together, really.
Right.
You know, you're just kind of getting everything cut and thread and getting ready. Yeah, let's keep moving. I'm gonna move on to the next one. We'll go see what Rob's doing, but good job, dude.
All right.
All right, guys. So we're about ready to wrap on day 3, and I personally think we're doing really well, and Andy's ecstatic at the progress we made today. We've got the supply headers coming off of the boiler. That's where these pumps are. That's a horizontal pipe there. That's a supply header. It goes from 2-inch to 3-inch, and it ties into this 4-inch pipe above here. We've also got the return header in progress. We're missing one fitting, and that's being overnighted from Texas. We should have it hopefully about 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that's going to allow us to recreate on the backside, the return, exactly what we've done in the supply. And that'll be connecting up to this T here, this 4-inch fitting. If you come around the backside, we did hear from Andy already on how this all went together with these 2 pumps. And it's really interesting because these are all manifolded together. We're sending water out into both halves of the building. We've got one half of the building here, the other half here. and it's supplying hot water to the baseboard in each of the 45, 47 units in the building. This pipe here is 3-inch, and it's gonna have to connect up to the other side of those Victaulic tees, those red tees that we were seeing in the air there. Truthfully, we've got a couple hours left in piping for sure. We're gonna have to really be diligent in the morning, be efficient with our movements so that we can keep things moving forward progress, because the plan tomorrow by end of day is to be filling and purging the system. That'll allow us to start working on venting for the gas boilers. We've finished the gas today, which was a very good milestone to reach. Once that venting is complete, we're very close to firing these boilers up, which is a pretty long and detailed process. There's a few things here and there that'll come together before we get to that point. But end of day 3, I'm very pleased with where we're at. And to be completely upfront and honest, we wouldn't be where we're at if we didn't have these press fittings like these Viega MegaPress. It's just so fantastic to work with materials like this. So stay tuned. We're just about ready to wrap it up. We got a couple more pieces we're gonna cut and put in place and be ready for the morning. All right, Andy, day 4.
Day 4.
We got a lot done yesterday, but today, still quite a bit of work left.
Yep.
Hopefully what we're gonna accomplish is to complete the piping coming off of the boiler
Right.
for the supplies to the whole building, really.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think we got a couple 2 or 3 hours of piping left.
Okay.
We got some fitting up to do. We've got a couple of Vic spool pieces to make. They're going to be easy. We got to get a couple of points on the wall where we're going to run it to, and then we can make that up. We're waiting on a couple of fittings to come in, air freight, that I missed on my takeoff.
I'm working over here on this 3-inch supply line.
Yep.
You're taking care of a snow melt tie-in, and then we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna go to the Vic.
Yep.
By the end of the day, what do you hope to have done?
I would like to see here by the end of the day, actually maybe even shortly after lunch, that we're going to have this thing filled with water. We're going to be starting into doing startup. That's my game plan anyway. I'd like to turn the heat on today.
We got a lot of venting to do before
we got some venting to do. But
oh man,
we'll see what happens.
I just got nervous. I don't know if you could see that in my face. There's a lot of work to do, but I'm confident that you're correct. We're going to get at least very close.
We're going to be very close.
And I'm not going to stop until we can get there. So stay tuned. Day 4 of the 5-day change out. And this has been a lot of fun for me. I just want to say one thing on camera. And I'm going to embarrass him, but he's my best friend. And it's just been an incredible pleasure to work with him and his guys, Rob and Miles. They're like phenomenal dudes that truly, truly work hard, want to learn, and are just incredibly talented already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Good crew.
Andy, it's been so much fun. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's get to work.
We got stuff to do.
Andy, end of the day, day 4.
Day 4.
Guess what, guys? The heat is on.
Heat's on. System's filled. We got a little hiccup, but we're in.
I didn't want to say goodbye to these guys until we did it on camera, because we got Miles and Rob that absolutely killed it this week.
Absolutely.
Like, you have the best crew. It's amazing.
I do.
You're so lucky. It was so fun to work with you guys. Here's your last piece of garbage to load up on the truck, by the way. They almost got out of here before we could do this at all, but like, you guys, seriously, great job. Got the job trailer loaded up. Like, all that's left really to take out of here tomorrow when we do some cleanup work is gonna be some extra pipe.
Yep. I'll bring the flatbed in tomorrow and we'll load up some 21 footers and take those right back to the supply house. Especially that bent one.
And Rob even backed the trailer down the driveway, which we were, I'm just kidding. Just give you a hard time. Well, guys, it was a pleasure working with you, seriously.
Yeah.
Good job. Great job. Andy, what's next? Should we go look at the boilers?
Let's go look at some boilers.
All right, dude.
Sweet.
Andy, the heat is on, and I am so excited.
The heat has been on for 4 days. Let's be real. The heat has been on to get the heat on.
You mean, yeah,
on.
the pressure. The pressure's been on to get the heat on for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. We are actually, everybody watching, we're done a day early, a day ahead of plans. Probably because of, you know, the great help that you've got on your team, Rob and Miles. The four of us really just haven't stopped moving since we started Monday morning. Well, Sunday afternoon really is when we got everything ready. It's so much fun to see it all start and now finish. We just got a little bit of cleanup work to do, but you guys just did all of the commissioning. So you're here from Rhode Island.
Yep, here from Rhode Island, right from the Viessmann factory.
I came up from Denver. We've been here for like the week.
Patrick and Chris and Denver, you're the regional
Yep.
for Viessmann.
Yep.
And you work with Andy quite often.
Oh yeah, I talk to Andy once a week.
Hey, how nice
other
is
week.
this? how nice is this that we just did commissioning on a Thursday
On a Thursday,
instead
not
of
at
Friday?
4:30 on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
it's, I gotta say, now we have our whole Friday freed up to do whatever the heck we want,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So tell us about the boilers and what it means to Viessmann to have this product in the product catalog, really. Well, I mean, how significant is it?
It's been a huge, significant leap for everybody. We got now common control platforms, so you can have the guys that are working on your residential and want to try their hand at that commercial market. There's not that big of a leap in controls or anything like that anymore. Really great products in here. O2 trim control on it, so combustion management system in the commercial sector now for Viessmann, and just a big win all around.
And you got different control options as well, building monitoring, everything like that.
Yep, anybody wants to do any building management, we can do it in all your standard protocols. Really anything we can do with it. Along with building management, these boilers do have actually built-in Wi-Fi, so this building will be doing their own remote monitoring without a building management system.
And it took you just minutes to commission the boilers using the app that we use for all of our residential and other commercial boilers too.
Yeah, I think I screen recorded that, and it was like 3 minutes and 50 seconds to commission 3 boilers.
So each one of these is 399,000 BTUs. Combined, it's 1.2 million.
Yep.
We replaced a 1.6 million behemoth of a cast iron boiler. It took us nearly an entire day to carry out of here.
Yep.
That's nothing but significant. It's
Right.
they're gonna see a huge savings in operating costs in the building. Would you imagine?
Oh yeah, yeah. I suspect that I'll get some feedback come spring when they are able to compare. It's nice because we're doing this right at the beginning of heating season, so we'll be able to look largely at the heating days that we have this year versus last year, and also they can look at their house electrical panel. And the fact that we've got these Taco variable speed pumps, this 0034E, the VR20s in the back, these guys right now, they're 2 watts.
They're running at
They're
2 watts.
2 watts.
They're moving just enough water.
This guy here's moving, what do we got? 18 gallons a minute at 23 watts. The savings that we've got in comparison to that old, the 1600 series 3/4 horse 3-phase pump that we had on there before, that was like 12.5 amps.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's significant.
You know, and you guys, this is one of the setups you can do with these. You can either pipe them, pump them directly. You can do variable primary right through them, because these are high mass boilers, and those 399s up to the 2 million. A lot of other manufacturers kind of cut that off at 1 million, where if you wanted to pump these boilers with the system pumps.
Yeah.
But you have the Delta T control in there, which is even going to be more efficient because you can bring colder water into each boiler.
Well, it was something that was kind of interesting in the specs, and when we started filling water, we filled water for a long time. There's 29 gallons of water in each of these boilers. So, I mean, think about that. There's 90 gallons of thermal mass that we can really let kind of do this whole flywheel effect and really take a tight control on it.
And even more so, having the redundancy with 3 boilers, when those shoulder season hits, we're going to start dropping boilers off, bring that thermal mass down just to help boost efficiency even further.
Yep.
So this building's been without heat since May.
Yep.
And we are now in the last couple days of September. And in fact, while we were working on this, temps overnight were down into the high 30s, low 40s. which is, you know, is a heat demand on this building.
Absolutely.
The residents, bless them, they're super nice, but they've been asking all week, when's our heat going to be on? When's our heat going to be on?
Yeah. There's rumor of a cake being baked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's might be a party tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think your crew deserves it. It was
Yep.
so fun to work on this. It was so nice to meet you guys, and thanks for coming out. And I'm just blown away by the process and how you guys commissioned these things. In less than an hour, these things went from testing, make sure everything was ready to go, and then making heat. I mean, that's phenomenal. Great service. I mean, guy comes from the factory.
Yeah.
Andy Mickelson, yeah. He deserves it.
Yeah, premium execution is what this is. Yeah. We just planned for these guys to be here on the day of startup.
Just so happened.
Yeah.
We were in Montana.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for watching the video. This was so much fun. I've said it 100 times already. I'm so impressed by Andy and his guys, but it was just an honor to be on this job. I want to thank the sponsors of the video, RIDGID Tools, of course, Viega.
Yep.
The MegaPress system really helped make this job go as smooth as it did. And then, of course, Viessmann for, you know, getting in and helping us with this video to make on this awesome equipment. It was so cool.
Yep.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow the Make Trades Great Again podcast on anywhere you get your audio, and here on YouTube too. That one step up, that's where it's dangerous. It's a dangerous spot. That hurts. Look at that, dude.